I think the team that made the biggest statement over the course of the 3 days of the NFL draft were the Kansas City Chiefs. There's a lot of intrigue as to what the Chiefs were going to do heading into this draft, and they made a statement early on. This is going to be defense, 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 and they attacked it with a fervor. And then, at the end of day 3, they ended up getting some good players on offense. I love Emmett Johnson. Before the draft even started, I said he was my favorite prospect in this draft. Why? Because I love his story, but the running back from Nebraska also led all of college football with 151.8 all-purpose yards per game and was 4th in the country in rushing yards with 1,450 last year. To get him in late day 3, that is a steal. I love Emmett Johnson in that running backs room. And then late, they get a wide receiver from, the University of Cincinnati. Hello, Travis Kelce. And that player's name is Cyrus Allen. He's going to play a role in the offense as well. But this was about the defense for Kansas City, and it was a statement made by Veach and company. We're going to be back on that defensive side of the ball, and hopefully we're going to be deeper, younger, and faster than ever before.
Shut up, Brian.
Welcome to the pod. Welcome to Brian's World. I am your host, the ambassador of Kansas City, Kansas City's favorite son, Brian B. Shining. I'm so blessed and honored that you're here with me because I know and I realize you literally could have been anywhere else. But you're here with me, spending a little time, and I ain't going to waste it. And before we go any further, shout out to my family at Foolish Club Media. Please subscribe, lock in, tap in, love, share, comment, everything. Foolish Club Media at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. Oh, baby, while you're at YouTube, please tap into the B Shining page, my page, Brian B. Shining. You can check out every single episode of Brian's World that drops Wednesdays or every other Wednesday. As well as my Hustle and Shine in the morning content, R&B Shining, Motivational Minute. I got tons of stuff. All that B Shining content at the YouTube page at B Shining. And yeah, I want to say we on our way to almost 500 subs. We about there. So just please keep subbing, please keep showing love. I really appreciate it. I really do. We're gonna go over the Chiefs 2026 draft recap and where does the team actually stand right now. I got some positive thoughts about the team building and where we stand. A couple of things and concerns too, but overall, I'm excited about the 26-27 football season. Why I'm conflicted on the new Royals Stadium that will be downtown at Crown Center. That big announcement was just made in the town. Man, I'm going to go back down memory lane just a little bit, but explain why I am conflicted about this new downtown stadium. Arsenio Hall recently was on an interview, and he was talking about his fame versus his family. I just want to ask myself and you, what really matters to you at the end of the day? Can't wait to get into that. And I got to talk about it. It's too big of a subject. I cannot ignore this one. Megan Thee Stallion and Klay Thompson broke up. But there's a bigger conversation that needs to be had. And while some of these things in this breakup, some of the ladies, y'all just dead wrong. I'm going to explain why. That and more in this episode of Brian's World.
Just kind of solidified our decision to go up there. And if you want this guy, I've always said this, you do all this work and you put all this time into this, but you want a guy, you got to go find a way to get him. And again, when you look at the landscape, it was funny because we kind of had, like, when we're picking, it looks like it'll be Tyson, Dwayne, Downs, kind of in that stack. We kept going through it. And, we just relied on our data analytics and said, like, the Saints would be likely to take the lane there just because of losing the 2 corners the last 2 years. And, again, similar predicament. So just went up there and got that guy. And it's funny because 3-4 weeks ago when we were going through the 30 visits, I bumped Steve and I said, we're going to bring our corner. And he's like, don't bring him in. Just don't bring him in. Let's just zoom him. Let's keep it quiet. Thought we did a good job. I think a lot of people thought we might go offensive line there. But this was our guy the whole time. Again, assuming Bailey and Reese were off the board, great players, but, we had Delane right up there, and it's hard to find, good corners. And I know that we've done well over the years of addressing corners late, but, when you're kind of within reach of a top corner, We did that a couple years ago. I think we traded a 3 and a 4 to get McDuffie. So, traded a 3 and a 5 to get Mansour Delane. So we're extremely excited.
I knew coming into this draft, it was going to be heavy defense, and the Chiefs definitely delivered. I love this draft. I do. I like the potential that each player gives. I really like the value that we got with some of the defensive players that we got. For instance, everyone except the first round pick with Mansour Delane. Get into that in a second. But with R. Mason Thomas, we get an edge rusher. Still not satisfied with our edges right now, but I'm glad we were able to pick a good one out in the draft as the Chiefs got R. Mason Thomas from Oklahoma in the second round. And then the Chiefs addressed defensive tackle, maybe the heir apparent to Chris Jones with Peter Woods, defensive tackle from Clemson, with their second number 1 pick at the number 29 spot. Jadon Kennedy, defensive back from Oregon. They're saying that he's a slot, but I'm seeing people talk about him playing more as a safety. Maybe he has a little Tyrann Mathieu on him a little bit where he'll play safety, but also play in the slot. Also will blitz him and play him in the box and do all type of things. I'm not sure. I don't think any of us knows truly what the Chiefs' plans are for any of these guys right now. But let me get to the number 1 pick. Mansour Delane, cornerback from LSU. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not excited about this guy, and I'm not saying that he's not going to be a great player, because I am excited about him being on the squad, and I do think that he eventually will be a great player. But trading that 3rd round pick just, I didn't want to do it. I understand you had to, and you have to do certain things. And yes, the Chiefs did trade a draft pick for Trent McDuffie to move up to grab him in 2022. But man, it just seems like the same story over again. It seems like it's the Trent McDuffie thing all over again. Nothing wrong with it. It ended up being a pretty good thing because you were able to get an all-pro corner, one of the best corners in the league at his time here with the Chiefs. And you also got him on that rookie deal. You didn't have to spend a bunch of money signing another cornerback by letting $100 and something million cornerback go. So it's all going to be proven on the field, as we all know. But the bar for Mansour Delane, it is very high. It's very high. Because if he doesn't fulfill the expectations that we had of Trent McDuffie, because this is a similar situation to what the Trent McDuffie trade in 2022. And so we traded him away, and we don't have a corner, but now we have Mansour Delane, and he has to be an all-pro by his 2nd year in order for this trade to be justified. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. That's just what it is. The Trent McDuffie made the rules when he was our 1st round cornerback that we got in 2022, and immediately made an impact. That 2000, I look back now and I'm thinking about that 2023 defense and all of the young talent that was on there from the 2022 draft. And remember, that 2023 team was the team that repeated as Super Bowl champions. So there was something there with that young influx of talent. And could this be a repeat of 2022? I'm not going that far. I don't know about that. But I will say, again, with Mansour Delane, if he doesn't come out smoking, if he doesn't come out and is immediately one of the top cornerbacks in the league after his first 1 or 2 years, then this trade is going to be looked at differently. This trade is going to be looked at as a failure, and that's something that we shouldn't have done at all. We should have stayed pat at 9 and not give up that 3rd round pick. But we talked about this during the draft show on Foolish Club Media too. I listen to Show and BK like faithfully during the season. Is every single Friday. I can't wait to
Brian. No love for Beach season, bro. Jesus.
Of course, I tap into all of them, especially like the favorites of the week, the top takes of the week.
Rocky, just let him speak, Rocky.
No, but like I can't wait till after a week 4 performance where Mansour Delane, he might give up, six
Oh my
catches,
God.
6 catches for 78 yards and a couple touchdowns to Christian Kirk and some shit, and BK is going to absolutely roast.
No,
He's going to roast Delane. I just want to add, what is going to be your grading curve with him concerning that? The Chiefs gave up, a third for him. Are you going to be tough on Delane?
I mean, he better be like a top 10 corner in the NFL.
He's gonna be on his ass.
Listen,
every week.
Brandon, at what point does he need to be top 10? We top. Come on, man. Stop.
You just traded a 3rd round pick and took him at number 6 overall. Do you want to go through the top 10 cornerback selections in the last decade? He needs to be a top 10 corner.
Hold on. Would you, if they traded up for Ruben Bain at 6, would you have had the expectations that he'd be a top 10 edge rusher?
Sacks. Yes.
This was always my thing with Ruben Bain is I think people got way out of whack with what he's going to be in the NFL, and I don't think you take that in the top 10. Like, I think he's a guy that you're pretty happy when he gets to double-digit sacks because I don't think it's going to happen most years in his career. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's a top 10 pick. I think that's a guy you take in the late 1st round, and he's gonna be good against the run. He's gonna be physical. Like, he might be Frank Clark, and that's nice. But if he's Frank Clark, are you taking that in the top 10? I don't think you do. So that's why, like, Mansour Delane, that dude better be a top 10 corner.
Next year, stop it, BK. This is selfish.
Do I get the Frank Clark?
What was Sauce Gardner in his rookie year?
Top 5.
Okay, name the others. Who else were? What was Derek Stingley? He wasn't top 5 as a rookie year. He was drafted 3rd. He wasn't top 10 either. No, he wasn't. I covered him. I watched every one of his games. He was not top 10. He was not.
I will say, look, I wish the Chiefs could have got another edge guy because we're kind of limited right now on the edge. And maybe the Chiefs have another plan in post-draft free agency that we don't know about right now. But other than that, maybe getting a future tight end could have been higher on the list for me with the priorities because what we got right now, I don't know, dog. Noah Gray didn't have a good season last year. Jared Wiley was hurt. And so I don't see that next tight end on this roster that's the heir apparent to Travis Kelce. And here's another thing too. Y'all know I love Travis Kelce. What top 2, top 3 Chiefs of all time. I just with his age and where he's at in his career, and he was good last year. He was damn good last year. But I wonder what this Chiefs offense could look like with a younger influx of another tight end. Maybe getting inserted in there and doing some of the things that Travis Kelce used to do in his younger years. I just wonder what this offense maybe could look like with maybe a younger tight end having a more prominent role. But other than that, again, love the draft, love what we did with the defense, and people are complaining like, okay, we need one of those receivers, we need early in the draft, or like, not necessarily. We had to replenish what we lost. The Chiefs lost over $240 million worth of free agents on defense this past year. I don't know if people realize that. Between the defensive linemen that are gone, Leo Chanel, McDuffie, Watson, Williams, like we had to fill those holes again. But my favorite thing about this team right now, and what I'm looking forward to the most after this draft, is this young, ferocious ass defensive line that we have. I think it's going to be mean, young, and I think the Chiefs are kind of taking a page after the Seahawks book, which I'm not mad at because the Seahawks definitely had it figured out with their run game and their rotation on their defensive line. And so just look at the Chiefs roster right now with the guys who you think are going to be in that rotation on that defensive line. Chris Jones, Carl Loftus, Ashton Gelati, Omar Norman-Lott, Kyrus Tunga, the guy we got from the Patriots, who I'm excited to see. Peter Woods, of course, the first round pick, and then R. Mason Thomas, the draft pick that's on the edge. I like this young group. Now it looks good on paper. Okay, on paper, it's like, okay, I can't wait to see what these guys look like on the field. But if we're constantly rotating these guys and they're fresh bodies coming in, bro, like Chris Jones plays. We see how many times Chris Jones is on the field and how many snaps that guy plays. You take him off the field a little bit more, freshen him up for maybe those third downs, a 3rd and 7, a 3rd and 8, and let him really go and get after it. This defensive line is going to be stupid dangerous. Now, I think what was a weakness is now more so a strength for this team now, that defensive line. I love our running backs too. And I can't overstate how immense of an improvement it is from the past couple years in that running back room. Kenneth Walker III, Bashar Smith, D. Mercado. And now you added Emmett Johnson too to fill in that Kareem Hunt role. Love our running back room. I can't wait to see those guys. But another thing on the offense, something that concerns me as I get ready to dip out of this, the thing that concerns me about offense is the fact when we do pass, we're going to have to rely heavily on Rashee Rice. He's, besides Kelsey, he's literally the only legit passing target that Patrick has right now. We can depend on Xavier Worthy all the time. Last year, I know injuries was definitely affecting him and his route tree and what he was able to run and what he was able to do. Okay. But other than that, Tyquan Thornton, unproven. Brown Lee, unproven. Jalen Royals, unproven. So I'm looking at the wide receiver room and I'm like, we're really, really going to have to depend on Rashee Rice, a guy whose availability, whether that be to his own doing dumb shit, or whether that be injury, his availability is always in question, it seems like. Even when he's not in trouble, it's like, damn, is Rashee Rice playing today? But then even when he does play, you go and look at the Denver game last year. You go and look at the Cowboys game last year. How many 3rd and long drops are you going to have, dog? So to me, man, Rashee Rice took a major step back last year, of both off the field and on the field, with it, because it's like, okay, you're making trouble off the field and you're getting in situations, but damn, at least you can come up with the 3rd and 7 catches. At least you're scoring touchdowns. At least you're doing this, and he wasn't. He was dropping passes last year. So I hate that the Chiefs are going to have to be so heavily dependent upon Rashee Rice for this season, because you can't really count on him with availability and the drop passes. So these wide receivers, they have to be dependable. I'm not saying that they have to be outstanding. I'm not saying that they have to show they complete ass and we need 2 or 3 Pro Bowlers in the wide receiver room. What I am saying is, when it's 3rd and 5, we need you to go get 7. When it's 2nd and 10, we need you to make it 3rd and 1. When it's 1st and 10 and we're throwing the ball, we need you to get some positive yardage. When we're in the red zone, we need you to catch those slants. We need you to run your routes right. Just be dependable. Be there to where Patrick can lead you and get you to where we need to be. They have to be dependable. Not outstanding, but there. There when Patrick is in a pinch. They have to come up with these crucial plays that move the chains, that keeps the offense ahead of the chains. But regardless of the wide receiver room and how that pans out, because I think that Andy Reid and his coaching staff, especially Eric Bieniemy, they're going to figure that out for sure. But look, after this draft though, I am super duper excited about this team for sure. I'm more excited this team than I have been maybe since like 2022, just simply because of how they attack free agency. There could be a switch in philosophy sort of on offense, so I can't wait to see what that is. But most of all, it's because of all the new talent that the Chiefs had, and I'm glad that they address a lot of these needs in that draft.